Hi friends, my name is Raymond, and I want to talk about what's going to happen with Obamacare. I think they're going to get together, since now they have the executive branch. They have Donald Trump up there, and they have a Republican Congress, and I think Republican Senate. What's going to happen is they're just going to destroy it. And something else that's going to happen, which is what Paul Ryan wants and all the Republicans want, they want to go back to the way it was. So the way it was that if you were sick, if you had a pre-existing condition, the insurance would not cover it. So if you have cancer, what's going to happen is you're just going to die from cancer. There will be about 50 million people, give or take, and maybe in the 40s. But I predict about 50 million people that will be left without health insurance in this country, in the United States. And they won't qualify for Medicaid only in blue states, meaning Democrat states. And so you're going to see a move. A lot of people are going to move out of Republican states where there's going to be basically no medical care for those who are sick and don't have jobs that can give benefits. And given the track record of Donald Trump with killing and destroying unions and workers, and he is against raising the minimum wage, and against giving any type of benefits to anybody. So a lot of people, especially in Republican states, are going to find themselves with jobs that don't have any benefits. And that's just going to trigger a huge move to blue states from people who are sick. Or not even if they're not sick, if they could be healthy, and they're just going to move over there so they can have some type of benefits in their jobs, because a lot of this right to work states, which basically my definition of right to work state is right to get screwed by companies state. They don't offer benefits unless it's a huge company. So that's going to happen. And people are asking, saying, Obamacare is a disaster and all this stuff. I said, no, it wasn't. What happened, the reason I'm an agent in the state of Florida, a licensed health insurance agent, and the reason a lot of companies left the exchange, the marketplace, is because our beloved Senator Marco Rubio and his right-wing cronies and bosses, they torpedoed the money that was already set aside for the transitional period expenses to pay the agents that sign people up in the marketplace. And all these things that was already spoken for, this money, they found a way to torpedo that money. So when that happened, a lot of companies could not afford it anymore. Say, hey, the money was already spoken for, but this guy and these people, they took it out, they took it away from us. So now we have to pull out of the exchange, and a lot of companies had to raise their deductibles and their the stuff that was part of their whenever you're gonna have their yearly maximum out of pockets. So it was a concerted effort from the Republicans to destroy Obamacare that really destroyed it. They actually succeeded. And people are celebrating that until they find themselves sick and unable to get medical care, and they end up dying. I think also it's going to go up. if I were you, I would start buying life insurance, because at least if you voted for this people, buy life insurance, because you're probably going to need it when you get sick, because you were probably not going to have coverage, and at least you leave something to your family, But the reason a lot of people now, I hear a lot of people, you can't get insurance in Florida if you're too poor, if you don't meet the requirements for a government assistance for Obamacare. Well, that was another Republican measure, and they all got together and they left the poor, the people who actually work full time, but they don't make enough money, and they're in the millions, because they're and mostly a lot of this Republican states, they don't want to pay anything, but you end up working full time and living under the poverty line, and you don't qualify for Obamacare assistance, so you have to pay full price on the insurance, and on top of that, you don't qualify for Medicaid. So even though the federal government gave the states and said, here's the money to take care of these people, and they all rejected the money, even though this money is given to them free by the federal government for the people that they're supposed to care for, they rejected the money, so that they purposely destroyed Obamacare and turned everybody against Obamacare. Now, as far as the having to pay a fine, I'm against that. I don't think people should have to pay like a $700 fine. I don't think that's right. What I think should work is what Bernie Sanders was proposing. It's a Medicare for all. Take it out of everybody's check and do it in a fashion where everybody has basic health care and catastrophic and stuff like that. Because what ends up happening is you have everybody getting sick. They go and they don't have health insurance, and when they have something serious that's catastrophic, the taxpayer has to end up paying for something that could have been prevented with preventive care if they have basic health insurance. So, you either pay a little bit now to take care of the people to prevent the catastrophic stuff, or you pay a gazillion times more when they get really sick because they couldn't take care of it when it was in its early stages, or you just do what they do in China and other countries where they just let you die, which is, I think, what's going to happen. And the people say, well, we have too many people here to insure. That's not true. I say Spain has been, Spain, Germany, the Nordic countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Holland, they're all socialized medicines places. Iceland, England, Canada. The problem here is that this country spends 54% of discretionary spending, what they have to spend, money they have left to spend on war, and they pay, and then we give subsidies. We basically finance all the churches and all the religions to the tune of $71 billion per year in tax breaks that we give those. So we're basically financing churches, us the taxpayers. Even if you're an atheist, you're financing, like me, I'm paying for the tax-free church and property taxes, and they don't even pay sales taxes, and all the tax-free jets that they fly around the world in, preaching their imaginary, friend in the sky, mythology. And we pay for all of that. With $71 billion a year, we could feed the entire country every year. Which is what actually churches are supposed to be doing, taking care. They pride themselves in helping the poor, but they don't do shit. They could give a couple of meals here and there, and that's not from the church. That's from private people. Joel Osteen gets up there in the pulpit, and he just bought an $11 million mansion in Texas, flies around in jets, is multi-millionaire. And he goes up there and panhandles, say, we need money for the poor and for the children. Why do you have to get up there on a pulpit and beg for money to feed children or whatever? help the poor if you're super rich. You know, you should be giving that money to them. That money was given to you by all these people. You know, so that's one way. Another way, you know, from that defense contract budget, we can just, instead of spending 1.3 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars developing one airplane, which is a piece of shit, the biggest failure in combat aircraft ever. This is the opinion of the people who know about combat planes, the F-35. $1.3 trillion, one airplane. You know, I mean, it's outrageous what these people spend in military contractors, because they're buddies with you know, they grease the hands of the politicians to get the contracts. You know, right there we can take care of everybody, pay for education, and pay for everybody's health care, which would make a healthier nation, and would make a more educated nation that could further more technological advances and create more businesses. So, you know, this is the problem with with the United States and all the greed and the pharmaceutical companies who are charging outrageous amounts of money for old as fucking medicines. Oh, we're just paying for the research. Bullshit. The thing's been in the market forever. Look what they did with the EpiPen. You know, so it's all about, you have to control you have to control the greed, and that's what the government is for, to protect the people, not the corporations. So the solution to this is to go to a single payer, with single payer meaning it's a socialized medicine system where it's prices are controlled. It's a Medicare for all, and control the greed of all these corporations. Like you have here in Florida, the Adventist health system owns Florida Hospital, and they don't pay a red cent in taxes. But in 2011, I think it was, when they weren't even a fifth of the size of what they are now. They're a monster, a humongous, you know, monster. But back then, they made $350 million clear profit, net profit. They didn't pay a red cent in taxes. Their CEO made 1.6 million in compensation. Now they're a monster. They're buying up everything, and you know, I mean, they charge outrageous amounts of money, $27 for a Tylenol, and all this stuff. I mean, we have to control that greed and make sure that they pay taxes. The Catholic Church has gone on a hospital buying spree. Yeah, and now they go and, you know, they're forcing their religious beliefs on people and denying life-saving abortions to women who develop ectopic pregnancies against the doctor's orders. These people are monsters. We have to stop that. We have to stop this bullshit about allowing religious institutions to dictate the healthcare of the people, and to tax them all. You know, they're making shitloads of profit and not paying a red cent in taxes. So yes, the country has plenty of money to pay for health care for everybody right now. But they're just giving it to the churches and to the greedy corporations and everybody who pays off all the politicians, you know. So, you know, the solution's easy. Stop voting for these politicians that don't want to take care of you with the money that you pay them. You know, it's really simple. And at this moment, the answer to that is stop voting Republican. But guess what the American people did? I mean, the popular vote went to Clinton, but you know, all the racist white people went out and voted, and they got their racist warmonger idiot up in the White House. So, you know, it ain't the first time. They did the same thing with George Bush. So yeah, you want to fix it, don't vote for these assholes. But hey, guess what? This is what you wanted. Go ahead, give it about a year and a half, and no one's going to have fucking health insurance in this country. Give it some time.